She was young, full of life, and trusted the wrong person. What happened next would shock an entire community. Lauren Ashley's story begins with light and ends in tragedy. She was a young woman full of promise, whose life was taken by someone she once trusted. It was late one night when her father, Malcolm Ashley, received a call no parent should ever hear. Lauren's car had been found abandoned in a parking lot near the city beach. Terrified, Malcolm rushed to the scene, holding on to the hope that she might still be alive. With a flashlight in hand, he searched the shoreline, scanning the waves for any trace of her. But there was no sign of his daughter. To understand how things came to this moment, we need to look back at Lauren's life. Born on April 1st, 1993, in Boston, Massachusetts, Lauren was the only child of Mary and Malcolm Esty. Both teachers, they devoted their lives to her, instilling values of honesty, kindness, and compassion. Even after their divorce in 2006, they remained united in supporting her. Lauren was a remarkable teenager, small in stature, just under 5 feet tall, but unforgettable in presence. She was always busy, singing in choirs, playing sports, performing in musicals, counseling at summer camps, and volunteering in her community. Her voice stood out wherever she went, earning her the lead role in her school's a cappella group and countless solo performances. But her true passion was helping people. From classmates in need to strangers suffering after Hurricane Katrina, Lauren gave her time, her energy, and her heart. At Wayland High School, Lauren was known not just as a student, but as a role model. Friends saw her as a trendsetter, someone whose energy and personality inspired others. It was during these years that she began dating Nathaniel Fuja, a tall, athletic football player she had known since childhood. Nathan was one of the most popular boys in school, admired on the field and cheered on by classmates. But he only had eyes for Lauren. Their relationship lasted 3 years, and at first it seemed perfect, young love full of promise. Lauren even became close with his family, often visiting his parents, Beth and Tom, who welcomed her warmly. But behind the smiles, the relationship grew troubled. Arguments became common, and the once happy couple fell into a cycle of breaking up and getting back together. Nathan, admired by many, struggled with jealousy and possessiveness. Lauren, always giving to others, began to feel drained by the constant tension. By her senior year, she started thinking about the future. She applied to Elon University in North Carolina, excited to begin a new chapter. Nathan had been accepted to Trinity College in Connecticut to play football, a dream opportunity. On paper, their lives were moving forward, but emotionally, they were falling apart. On her 18th birthday, April 1st, 2011, Lauren made the decision. She ended the relationship, calling it one of the best days of her life. For her, it was a new beginning. For Nathan, it was the start of a downward spiral. The football offer he had dreamed of no longer mattered. Once energetic and motivated, he withdrew into himself, spending hours alone, angry and depressed. And soon, Nathan's heartbreak turned into something far more dangerous. He stopped spending time with friends, abandoned his routines, and slipped into isolation. Heavy drinking and daily marijuana use only deepened his decline. Even though Lauren had ended their relationship, she still cared. She worried about Nathan and asked her friends if she should reach out. Each time they warned her not to. By the summer of 2011, high school was behind them, and Lauren was eager to enjoy her last months at home before starting college. Her friends organized a huge graduation party under a tent with more than 150 students. Nathan was there too, already drunk when he approached Lauren. He wanted to reconcile, but she stood firm, telling him it was over. In his intoxicated state, he couldn't accept her rejection. He followed her through the crowd, refusing to let her dance or even speak to anyone else. At one point, Lauren broke down in tears, telling friends that Nathan simply would not leave her alone. His anger escalated until he punched a tent pole with such force that the entire structure collapsed. The party was ruined. Everyone urged him to go home. That night, Lauren confided in her mother that Nathan was furious, bitter, and unable to accept the breakup. For a short while, things calmed down. Lauren took a job at a clothing store in the mall to save money before college. On July 3rd, 2011, she arrived for her morning shift. Cameras showed her entering at 9:45 a.m. and leaving at 6:45 p.m., talking on her phone. She never made it to the evening walk she had planned with friends. When she failed to come home, her father, Malcolm, immediately sensed something was wrong. He reported her missing to police right away. The search began within hours. That same night, officers found her red Jeep parked at One Town Beach. The windows were down, her laptop and bag still inside, but Lauren was gone. Malcolm rushed to the shoreline, flashlight in hand, desperately scanning the waves for his daughter. Friends camped out on the beach that night, hoping she would return. None of them imagined the worst had already happened. Police began their investigation by speaking with Lauren's loved ones. At first, no one could imagine who would harm her. But when detectives pressed harder, Nathan's name inevitably surfaced. Friends admitted the breakup had been difficult, but they didn't believe he was capable of violence. Officers weren't so sure. A rejected boyfriend was often the first place to look. That evening, police visited Nathan's home. Both he and his mother, Beth, insisted he had been there all night. Nathan added that Lauren had stopped by briefly but never left her car. He claimed they spoke for just a few minutes before she drove away. At sunrise, a cyclist found 18-year-old Lauren's body in a marsh, just 5 miles from her Jeep. She had a fatal throat wound. Police soon uncovered the truth. Her ex-boyfriend Nathan had lured her to meet on July 3rd. Evidence in his home, bloodstains, muddy sneakers, and clothes with Lauren's blood, linked him to the crime. He was arrested hours later. At trial, Nathan's lawyers admitted he killed her, but claimed insanity, citing depression and head injuries. But for Lauren's family, no excuse could undo the loss of their only child, killed after showing kindness to the boy she once loved. According to the defense, Nathan suffered a sudden manic episode that night. They argued that he wasn't fully aware of his actions as he led Lauren into the garage of his family home. There, he grabbed an elastic cord, wrapped it around her neck, and began to choke her. His attorneys claimed he was detached from reality, his body acting while his mind shut down. In this altered state, they said, he slashed Lauren's throat without comprehension, showing no emotion in the moment. Their case hinged entirely on the claim of insanity. Prosecutors argued Nathan carefully planned the attack. He called Lauren repeatedly, knowing his parents would be out. The medical examiner revealed she suffered strangulation, a fatal throat wound, and defensive injuries. After killing her, Nathan abandoned her Jeep, dumped her body in a swamp, and tried to hide the evidence, cleaning blood, stashing clothes, and pretending nothing happened. Experts clashed in court. The defense claimed mental illness, but prosecutors said his calculated steps proved he knew exactly what he was doing. Lauren's mother listened in silence as the brutal details were read. Nathan, just 20, finally broke down in court, while his devastated parents faced the reality that their son had murdered the girl they once loved like family. On March 7, 2013, after a full day of deliberation, the jury delivered its verdict, guilty on all charges. In Massachusetts, first-degree murder carries a mandatory sentence of life in prison without parole. The Ashley family finally had justice, though nothing could bring their daughter back. In a moment that stunned the courtroom, Lauren's father, Malcolm, walked across the aisle and embraced Nathan's grieving parents. He understood that while his family had lost their daughter, the Fuhas had also lost their son. It was a gesture of extraordinary grace in the face of unimaginable pain. Lauren's legacy did not end there. Her parents, Malcolm and Mary, founded the Lauren Ashley Memorial Foundation to honor her memory. But even a decade later, her story continues to raise difficult questions. In January 2024, the Massachusetts Supreme Court overturned a law that had required offenders under the age of 20 to serve life without parole. That ruling could make Nathan eligible for release one day. For Lauren's parents, the thought is unbearable. To them, the man who brutally killed their daughter should remain behind bars for life. And so, Lauren's story remains both a cautionary tale and a lasting call to action. A reminder of how quickly young love can turn dangerous, and how one act of violence can ripple through countless lives forever. The case of Lauren Ashley is not just a crime story. It's a warning that sometimes the people closest to us can be the most dangerous. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more true stories that the world should never forget.